Hey guys, I'm Lynx and I'm an Immortal 3 Initiator main, and today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks for mastering the new agent in Valorant, TEJO. TEJO's toolkit is full of abilities that disrupt enemies and allow you and your team to create space. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to dominate your games with TEJO, so let's jump right into it. Also, just a quick thing, if you do like this type of content, I do stream on Twitch every day, so make sure to check me out on there if you'd like to watch me play some Valorant, build a community with me, or just ask some questions in general. Anyway, here's the video. First up, we have TEJO's stealth drone. This drone sends out a pulse to reveal and suppress enemies in its line of sight. Here's how you can make the most of it. Before pushing a site, use your drone to gather information and clear corners for your team. If you know where enemies are playing, it will help your team entry, especially if you tag them with a reveal, and it will also suppress them, so they can't even use util when you're executing. Likewise, even if you're not executing, the drone is super strong for clearing spaces like Garage on Haven or Baths on Bind. That being said, TEJO's drone is really loud and you can hear it coming from quite far away. You can shift to make it go quiet, but honestly, it's already quite hard to shoot, especially considering it's invisible.
Drone going out. Drone going out.
Just keep in mind that the enemy won't be able to see your drone until they're close enough, and same with you, you won't be able to see the enemy until you're in their range as well. His scan pops really quick though, so it's quite hard for the enemies to get a reaction to it, but it is possible for the enemies to break anyway, so don't expect your scan to always pop or get off anyway, especially if there's multiple enemies holding the drone. Then another tip is, even if you don't see anyone, popping the drone's pulse in an open area can scan a lot of information. For example, B site on Fracture, it can clear the whole of site and anything around it. Your drone can also jump onto small boxes like in mid on Split or B site on Fracture, which can also bring up the line of sight on your drone. Next up, we have TEJO's guided Salvo. This ability allows you to target specific areas with 2 missile strikes that explode 3 times, forcing enemies to give up space or swing into your team. Here's how to use it effectively. Placing salvos in areas where enemies are likely to play is very strong. Like on Lotus, if we're playing defense on A and want to take space, we can use one molly on rubble and the other in main, stopping the enemy from walking out, or dashing or TPing to rubble. Or when executing a site like Haven C site, you can flush enemies behind stage out. This will cause the enemy to either die inside of it or swing wide into your team for an easy kill. TEJO's salvos are also extremely good for post-plant. They're also rechargeable, so that means you can use them at the start of the round and have them by the time that you're back on post-plant. You can also use them from far distances, so you can be safe while using them. That being said, TEJO is also very good for denying plants, especially if comboed with things like Breach Stun, it can be a free kill. And like I mentioned, TEJO's mollies are super good for taking space and getting kills, especially when combined with util like Breach or Neon Stuns, or even his own. The enemies are so slow that they can't make it out in time once in your mollies. This does take a bit of coordination, but it can lead to so many free kills. Another thing you can do with salvos is breaking enemy util like alarm bot and cypher trips, either to help your team execute, deny information for the enemies, or fake pressure. And finally, with the salvos, with its range being massive, it allows you to prepare to send them into choke points whilst defending. When the enemy is executing, you can stall them or split up their entry from the rest of their team, forcing them to take solo fights. This can also buy time for your teammates to rotate over, flood the site, or stop pushes entirely. Now let's talk about TEJO's special delivery. This sticky grenade attaches to surfaces or can be bounced off a wall to hit angles which you can't see in your line of sight. And once it lands, it explodes with a concussive effect. Here's some tips. Sticking the grenade to walls or floors near common rat angles like Heaven's A-site cubby will force enemies out and leave them concussed and vulnerable. Or even just throwing it into common spots when the enemy is holding site like backsite on C-site Lotus. That being said, it's also a great way to combo a stun with your mollies, by sending your mollies out and throwing your stun to keep an enemy stuck. You can also throw special delivery into choke points or entrances like on Bind A short or Pole A main when the enemy is about to execute. It's a good way to slow down the enemy's push and allow your team to rotate in. Finally, we've got TEJO's ultimate, Armageddon. This ability sends a wave of explosions down a chosen path. Here's how to maximise its potential. During a site execute, use Armageddon to block off enemies from leaving a site or force them out behind cover, forcing them to swing wide into our team. For example, backside on Bind B site, the enemy is forced to take a duel with our team as they can't get off site without fighting. This can also be used when retaking sites like A site on Split, using it across backside, pillar and main to force the enemy out of cover and take fights. But make sure to combo your executes and floods with util like flashes, so when the enemies swing into you, they'll be blind. If the spike is planted, using your ultimate can make it near impossible for the enemies to defuse. Along with your salvos, it's going to waste so much time when the enemy's trying to defuse. And once again, TEJO's ult can also break util like Cypher Trips and Killjoy's nanoswarms, and Alarm Bot too. Another way it can help you get out onto sites like A site and Fracture. And there you have it, tips for each of TEJO's abilities. TEJO is a super impactful agent when used correctly and comboed with the right utility and comp. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of TEJO, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Valorant content. Thanks for watching.